We are live. Hi everyone, welcome back to Geeks for Geeks practice. Today in this video we will discuss the problem of the day for 24th of December, that is valid substring. So please quickly give me a +1 in the chat if my voice is audible to everyone and my screen is also visible. I'll just wait for a couple of minutes for everyone else to join in and then we'll begin with today's session. This problem, that is valid substring, has been asked in a lot of companies, namely Amazon, Google and other companies. So you can just give me a +1 in the chat if everything is audible and the screen is perfectly visible, and I'll just wait for a couple of minutes for everyone else to join in and then we can start with today's session. Also let me know how many of you have solved this problem, that is valid substring, and what was your approach for solving this problem as well. So you can mention all those things, and I'll be telling you one very unique approach to do this question that will be a little bit on the greedier side, right? So just quickly consider giving me a quick +1 in the chat if everything is working fine. Hi Alok Ranjan Srivastav. Okay, so you can like the video and you can consider giving a +1. I'll not be doing this question using stack because stack is very much intuitive for this question, but I'll be doing this, I'll be showing you like how you can do it in a much optimal manner, right? In something like order of 1 space and order of n time. So please quickly like the video and give a +1 in the chat so that I know that everything is working fine, right? Perfect. Okay, all those who have joined, I can see 10 people have joined, so please quickly give me a +1 in the chat so that I can start with today's session. Shall I start? Shall I? I'm just waiting for your replies. You can just give me a quick +1 in the chat, everyone, and then I'll begin with the session, right? So this problem is named as valid substring. It has been asked in companies like Amazon, Google and others, and the problem level is easy, almost 50% accuracy, and the number of submissions are 35,000 plus, right? So this problem says that you have been given a string that is consisting of only opening parenthesis and close parenthesis, right? And in the end you have to find the length of the longest valid parenthesis substring, right? So let's say if you consider this substring, right? Let's say you consider this substring, that is one open parenthesis and then one close parenthesis. I have faced problems, some of the test cases have failed. Okay, no problem, I know which test cases must have failed, so I'll be discussing about them as well, right? So what you need to do is, first of all, you need to all of you can like the video if everything is working fine, right? So this is first of all there is an opening, then for this there is a closing. So this is a valid parenthesis, right? This is a valid parenthesis. Now let's talk about some more valid parenthesis. Let's say if you talk about this parenthesis, open close open, yeah, right. So if you talk about this, that is open then close, then open close and then open, right? So in this, what is the length of the longest? For this, the length of the longest valid substring was 2, right? But for this one, the length of the longest valid substring will be 6, right? Why? Because you can see this starts from here, this ends here, this starts here, this ends here, this starts here, ends here. So this much part of the string, that is this much part, this much substring is actually valid, right? And this is the longest length that is valid, right? If you'll talk more deeply, so this part is valid in itself, this part is valid in itself, and this is valid also, this complete part is also valid, right? So that is why this will be the length of the longest valid substring. How? Because in this, what is happening, the number of open brackets is equal to the number of closed brackets. Also, one more thing you can notice is that when you are having a opening, so you have an immediate closing for it, right? You have an opening, you have a closing for it, right? So in this way, this is giving me the maximum answer, right? Is this much part clear to everyone? You can just consider tell me in the chat, right? After that, let's say that you have another example. I'll give you, no, don't worry, I'll give you an example. So let's say if you have an example like this, let me give you another example. Let me know what will be the answer for this one. If I have close, then open, close, open, close, and then open, right? So for this particular string, what will be the longest valid parenthesis? Just let me know in the comments. For this particular string, what will be the number of longest valid parenthesis? What will be the length of the longest valid parenthesis for this one? Can I say that the length of the longest valid parenthesis is 2? No, I cannot, because there are this and this both are valid, right? This open close and this open close, right? For this opening you have this closing, for this opening you have this closing, right? And also this much complete part is also a valid substring, right? So that is why what will happen in this case, you can see that the total length is nothing but 4, right? Yeah, you are saying right, 4, correct, right? So for this the answer is 4. But how do I get some particular order? Can you suggest me? Like, stack part is pretty much intuitive for everyone, like how to do it using stack, but can we do it in a much better manner, right? So let's say that if you have this and this, right? If you have this closing and then you have this opening, so is what is the length of the longest valid parenthesis in this? Can someone let me know in the chat? What will the length of the longest valid parenthesis for this question? The length will be what? The length is nothing but 0. Why? You can see that the number of opening brackets is equal to the number of closing brackets, but this is not valid because it should have been like this, not this, right? So that is why not only the answer depends, not only my answer is depending on the number of open and close brackets, but it is also depending on their order as well, right? So this much part must be clear to everyone, right? I hope that this much part is clear. Now the question comes that how would you actually know that which substring part is actually valid and which is not, right? So for this, what I'll be doing is, I say that I can have an int open, that is the number of, that will count the number of openings, and I can have a int close, that will having number of close brackets, right? After that, what I'll be doing is, I'll start my I from 0, right? I start my I from 0. I will be less than s dot size, that is the size of the string, and I do an I plus plus. I will simply check if my ith character is equal to opening. Then what I'll do, I can simply say that I can do an open plus plus, I can count this as the open bracket, right? After that, else, in the else part, what should I do? If it is a closing bracket, then I should say it is a close plus plus, right? I should increment the number of close brackets. After this, I should check if my number of open brackets is equal to the number of close brackets, right? If the total number of open brackets and close brackets are equal, then can I say that the maximum length must be the max of max length comma open plus close, right? Open plus close, right? This should be the answer for this, right? Otherwise, else if, can I say that if the number of close brackets is greater than the number of open brackets, if the number of close brackets is greater than the number of open brackets, notice what I am saying, if the number of close brackets is greater than the number of open brackets, I should be marking my open is equal to 0 and my close is equal to 0 as well. Why? Because let's say if you are having this case, if you are having this and then this, right? So for this, you will say that you are having a close bracket, right? You are having a close bracket, but is it actually helping you out in this part, right? Is it actually helping you out? No, this will not help you out, right? So currently your close bracket is nothing but 1. The total number of close brackets is 1, right? The total number of close brackets currently is 1 for this case, right? The number of close bracket for it currently is 1. I go to this part, I have calculated that close is incremented. After that, I check that if my open brackets is equal to the number of close brackets, is that the case? No, open is currently 0 and close is 1. So what happens, I go to this else if part. So my close brackets, that is close is greater than 1, right? Close brackets is greater than 1 because close bracket is 1 and open is 0. So that is why close brackets are greater than the number of open brackets, right? So for this case, what will happen? I'll say that this will not be valid. Up till now, whatever I have calculated, it won't be valid because I need to start from beginning again. So I'll mark my open as 0 and also I'll mark my close as 0, right? This is what I will do. Now next up, what will happen? I will keep on checking and once I'll be here at this point, so I'll be counting this pair only, right? So for this, what will happen, my open and close will remain the same, right? My number of open brackets will be equal to the number of closed brackets. So in this case I will say that yes, my answer will be valid, right? Is this much part clear to everyone? Please let me know in the chat. You can just let me know in the chat. So you just check that if a particular bracket is open, so you count an open plus plus, otherwise you count a close plus plus. If the number of open brackets are equal to the number of closed brackets, then you will say that okay, right? What do I mean by that? So what do I mean by that is that let's say if up till here you say that okay, let's mark it as 0, right? After that, for this much part you see an opening, so you say that okay, open is equal to 1, then open is equal to 2, then your close is also equal to 2. So at this moment when you are here, the open is the number of open brackets is equal to the number of closed brackets, right? So for this, what will be your answer? The maximum length will be open plus close, that is 4, right? The length will be 4 and 4 will be the answer for this case, right? Let me show you the other test cases as well. Let's say if you have this test case, open then close and then open, right? If you have this, that is open, close and open, right? If you have this as your answer, then also what you will be doing, let us check that out as well, right? If you have this, you have this open, close and open, right? For this case, what will I do? I first of all come here, I see that there are openings, so I say that open number of openings are 1, and number of openings are 2, and number of closings are 1, right? After that, I see that the number of openings will be ultimately 3 and the number of closings is nothing but 1, right? So I can see when I am here, opening side is 1, closing is 0, opening is 1, opening is becomes 2, closing becomes 0. Opening is 2, closing is 0, right? Here opening is number of openings is what? The number of openings here are total 2 and the number of closings is 1. Here the number of openings are 3 and the closing is 1. So for this case, can I say that I will get a 0? But actually this should be my answer, right? This should be included my answer. So what I'll do is instead of starting from here, I can also start from the back. I can also check from the back, because I should check from the back as well. Why should I do so? I should be doing that. The sole reason for doing that will be because let's say that you start from the back, right? Let's say you start from the back. Let's say you are looking at it from the back, right? So in this case, what will happen? This is currently the case, right? This is the currently case when you are looking from left to right. Okay, this is the current case when you are looking from left to right. But what if you look from right to left? Some people might have noticed, right? For this case you should be getting an answer 2. Actually from this code you are getting 0. But how will I change this? How do I change this, right? If I say that I am looking from right to left, just try to look from right to left. If you currently look from right to left, so if I'm looking from the right, can I say that this is a closed bracket, right? If I'm looking from the right, so this is a closed bracket. If I am looking from the right, so this is an open bracket, this one is an open bracket, right? If I'm looking from the right, so this is not an open bracket, this will become a closed bracket. If I'm looking from the right, so this also becomes a closed bracket, right? Can you observe this thing? In this question? Now I see that for this particular thing, my close is equal to 1 and my open is 0, right? So I see that my number of openings are greater than closing. So in that case, I'll never be able to achieve this thing, right? So that is why I'll always say that let's make both of them 0. So I'll make my close and open as 0, because this becomes invalid the moment the number of closings are greater than the opening. So that means that that particular substring or the subsequence will be invalid. Now I come to this point, and I increment my opening by 1 and my closing is 0, right? My closing is 0. So what do I see? I see that okay, no problem, right? Because if I have an opening, so I'll say that okay, maybe in future I might get some closing, right? Right? So now I come to this point, and at this point my number of openings are 1, my closing is also 1. So I see that there is one opening and one closing, right? So I see that the number of openings will be equal to the number of closing. Notice that if I am iterating from the right, so instead of I starting from n minus 0, I will start from n minus 1, and I will be greater equal to 0 and I minus minus will be done, right? And the everything else will remain the same because the opening brackets will look like the closing ones and closing will look like the opening ones, right? For this case, I can say that opening is 1, closing is 1. So that means both are same. So that is why the answer will be what? Maximum is equal to maximum I've seen up till now. So the maximum I've seen up till now is 0. And open plus close is 1 plus 1, that is 2. So the max will store what? The max length will store 2, right? So for this case, I need to print an answer 2, right? Notice, are we getting this? If this much part is clear to everyone, please quickly give me a +1 in the chat if this much part is clear to everyone. Like, this is the approach of doing it using a little bit of greedy approach or implementation approach, so that what we can do is we can have it in order of n and order of 1 space, right? Is this much part clear to everyone? Alok, Ranjan, Srivastav and Kaushik, please let me know in the chat. Please quickly let me know, is this part clear to everyone? You can just let me know if this part is clear to everyone. I'll show you the code as well. Like, you can see this is the code that I had submitted. Let's try and run this as well. This will work definitely. Okay, so I'm trying to submit it. Let's see whether it works or not. So it should work, right? You can see that this got accepted. Also, I have written it in C++ as well, so you can also see clear. Okay, Durga Prasad, it is clear. So I've submitted it in C++ as well. Maybe getting some error. Yeah, not caret. This should not be caret. If I am doing it in this language, so it should be I, right? So I hope that it got accepted in Java. So I'll show you the Java code for this problem, right? So what I'll be doing first is, even you can do it in C++, like, it doesn't matter much if you are doing it in C++. So it means that s of I is equal to open and s of I is equal to close, right? These are the things that you will have to do, right? So I will do what? I first of all mark my openings as 0 and closing brackets as 0. Then I have a variable that is maximum length, right? After that, this is the first traversal where I am doing the traversal from left to right. Okay, left to right, moving from left to right. So if I see an opening bracket, I say open plus plus, that means the number of open brackets will increase. If I'm seeing a closing bracket, so I'll say okay, close plus plus. If I see that at a particular point of time the number of opening brackets is equal to the number of closing brackets, so that means it will be valid. Why? It will be valid because whenever I see that the number of closing brackets is greater than the number of opening brackets, then at that particular, let's say if this was the case, if there was a closing, then there were opening and closing, right? So in this case, I see this opening, I see this opening, I see this closing. So at that, whenever my closing is greater than opening, so I'll say that okay, this is discouraged. This much part cannot be my answer, right? So I'll say that okay, I'll not consider this, and I'll again mark my opening and closing as 0. Now I come to this, now opening and closing. So I see that now after this iteration, what will happen? Open and close will be same. So my max length will become what? 0, maximum of 0 comma 1 plus open plus close, I can say, or 2 into open also I can say, right? So that is why I can store my answer. But as I saw in this case, as I told you in this case, let me show you again. For this case, I told you that if it looks like this, if the case looks like this, that is open, this and this, right? So in this, the this and right, so this. So in this case, you can see that from here, if you are looking at it, so this is from up till here, what will happen? The number of openings will be 2 and the number of closings will be 1, right? So it will never get you the answer if you are looking from left to right. But the moment you start seeing it from right to left, so what happens is this will look like a closing to you, right? So that at this point you will say that close and open are 0. After that you move to this point, so this will look like an opening to you if you are looking it from the right towards the left, if you are looking from right to left. So this seems to me that it is opening, so I'll say open is equal to 1. Now I see this from the right, that is from n-1 to I is greater equal to 0. I see that this is a close, so that means my close becomes 1 as well. Now I check. So I check in the if part, and what do I see? That I see that the number of openings is equal to the number of closings, right? So that is why I'll say that my answer is what? Open plus close, or I can say 2 into open, right? So that is why I'll say that for this case, the number of valid substrate, like this and this, I can this and this, right? So I can say that this much part is valid, right? This much part is valid. So that is why I'll say that since this is valid, so the maximum length is 2, right? So that is why I need to check from left to right, and I also need to check from right to left, because I might get the maximum answer looking from both sides, and I only need to count the total number of possible valid substrings, right? So that is why it is necessary for me to get the maximum answer. I need to check from the left and the right as well. Please quickly consider giving me a +1 in the chat if this much part is clear to everyone, right? And after that, as I said, I'll be iterating from n-1, you can say, or s dot size or s dot length -1, and then I is greater equal to 0, right? So in this way I'll be doing it, and again I'll check if there is an opening I see from if I'm moving from this right to left. And also notice that if I'm moving from right to left, then also I'll mark my open and close as 0, right? So if I'm moving from right to left, so I will say that okay, now there will, the thing that was looking me as closing will be opening, and the thing that was looking me to me as a closing is an opening, and the thing that was a opening will now be a closing, right? So if opening is equal to close, so I'll say I'll update my maximum. Otherwise, if the closing is, if the number of openings are greater than the number of closings, why? Because in this case I am counting it in the opposite order, right? Or you can say that I can do it like this, I can do it like this. Let's say I can do it like this, because the opening here becomes closing and closing becomes opening, right? So this is how I'll do it, and I'll say that if the number of closings is greater than the number of openings, then I will say that okay, okay, now I need to mark both of them as 0. So is this much part clear to everyone? This problem has been asked in a company like Amazon, so you can try this problem out. The approach that I told you people was based on order of n time complexity, that is using 2 traversals, since I was doing 2 traversals. So that is why for this the time complexity was order of n plus order of n, that was simply order of n. And after that the space complexity was order of 1, because I wasn't using any extra space like a stack or any data structure like that. So this explanation is pretty much I hope clear to everyone. Everyone can do it using stack, I knew, but this was a little bit tricky, but you can check it out for this particular test case. You will be able to observe that looking from the left to right, you are not if you look from the left to right, so the answer that you get is 0. But if you look from right to left, so then you will get the answer as 2. That is this part, right? So that is what I was saying, and thanks a lot everyone for watching this video. In case if anyone has doubt, they can mention that in the comments, and I will be looking into your doubts. Also, please quickly give me a +1 in the chat if it is clear to everyone, and